You're listening to the Stress-Free Wedding Planning Podcast.
Do some Jewish weddings separate the men from the women when seated? What is a chuppah? Is a real glass used for the breaking of the glass ceremony? What other Jewish traditions are there in the ceremony?
After listening to this edition of the Stress-Free Wedding Planning Podcast, you're going to know and understand the answer to those questions with the help of our special guest, Adam Blutt, from the Riverview in Simsbury, Connecticut.
You're listening to the Stress-Free Wedding Planning Podcast.
Today, we've got many questions to answer about planning a Jewish ceremony.
Hi, my name is Adam Blutt. I've been working at the Riverview in Simsbury for about 13 years, primarily as a event coordinator.
Your Jewish ceremony is definitely not 10 minutes.
You know, usually the rabbi or somebody telling everybody what is happening. Sit wherever you'd like, just like any ceremony would be. Typically, the bride and the groom are both escorted by their parents down the aisle. Judaism is filled with all these really nice, interesting traditions.
Wine seems to be important at a Jewish wedding. From my view, I can't think of a time that I didn't see wine involved.
So this is an interesting one. After the processional, after everybody is down, the bride is then presented to the groom. Parents sit down. The bride, it's a very common tradition for her to then literally circle the groom 7 times. You know, that breaking of the glass. You want to really, get that in there. It's a really nice close to the ceremony, and it's Mazel Tov.
This is Sal and Sam with the Stress-Free Wedding Planning Podcast. It's a podcast for engaged couples who are stressed out about wedding planning and family expectations, but want a successful wedding day.
With over 80 years of combined wedding experience and insider information, this is Stress-Free Wedding Planning with your hosts, Sal and Sam. A new podcast for engaged couples who are stressed about wedding planning and family expectations, but want to have a fun wedding. Listen now for revealing wedding insider secrets, tips, and strategy or lesson that you'll be able to implement for a stress-free wedding. Information that you just can't miss and may just change your life. Take the journey with us from worry and concern to a stress-free and unforgettable wedding day. The Stress-Free Wedding Planning Podcast with Sal and Sam.
You know, Sal, one of the reasons for doing this was a long time ago, I saw a bride crying at her wedding reception. It wasn't because she was happy. It was because family expectations and those special events that she didn't want to do. She just wanted to have a party. I realized at that moment that I was going to dedicate the rest of my life to make sure that each couple had their wedding customized the way that they wanted it. So I found that with my talents in broadcasting and nightclubs, I could kind of personalize weddings for my couples without these special events or special traditions that the families wanted. Now, I had some ups and downs and some disappointments until finally I created this planning checklist that you would be able to go through step by step of what you wanted. And this has helped thousands and thousands of engaged couples plan and have stress-free wedding receptions. Now I'm known as the DJ that carefully plans and consults and reviews and has that elegant presentation at weddings.
You know, Sam, when I came into the business, like many DJs, we started doing parties and school events. And then I got to go to family weddings, and I was realizing that the entertainment didn't really know the wedding protocol. Things seemed very choppy, and it didn't really make sense. When I was asked to do my first wedding, I fell in love with this because I got to see the guests' reactions and see those happy faces on what I was doing. From that point, I knew weddings would be my priority. So I created a system to help couples plan their wedding. Unfortunately, I struggled with the balancing of work and family life and came to a point of closing my own business. But I never gave up. After a short period of time, my good friend Bert Fonseca of After Hours Entertainment asked me to join his company. Now, the extensive wedding planner I created back then was being used exclusively for our couples. It was such a success that we were recognized by the Knot and presented the Best of Wedding Award, and I successfully helped thousands of couples have memorable weddings.
And that's why, together with our extensive experience and wedding planning insider secrets, we're going to take you from an anxious couple to a stress-free, fun wedding reception that your friends and family will remember for years to come.
We'll take you from the worries and concerns of planning your wedding and take you to a stress-free and fun wedding day.
We'll reveal wedding insider secrets for a stress-free wedding, plus have engaging interviews with expert wedding professionals, all in 30 minutes or less.
We'll do that next.
You're listening to the Stress-Free Wedding Planning Podcast.
Thank you for joining us here again at the Stress-Free Wedding Planning Podcast. This is Sam from Atmosphere Productions Disc Jockey Service.
And this is Sal from After Hours Events in New England, and we have a special guest in the studio today.
Hi, my name is Adam Blutt. I've been working at the Riverview in Simsbury for about 13 years, various capacities, primarily as a event coordinator.
Today, we've got many questions to answer about planning a Jewish ceremony. And you're especially qualified for that because of the facility you work at and the amount of Jewish ceremonies you do. Give us a little background of what somebody who is a guest and non-Jewish should expect at a Jewish wedding.
Well, there's so many things, Sam. I think when you first arrive and there's going to be a Jewish ceremony, you're going to look for things that are out for people to kind of take part in or take part of. Yarmulkes, for instance, which are a typical head covering. Those usually are offered. So a reason for the yarmulkes is basically a sign of respect in the Jewish tradition, typically just for the men. And why it's just for men only?
Yes, good question.
Yeah, why is it just for men only? It's a good question. Women are allowed to wear them. It depends on this seriousness of the ceremony, and by seriousness I mean level of Judaism. There's many different sects of Judaism.
Gotcha.
And more reform services, which are on the lower sect, most common. Most ones we do that are outside of a synagogue or a temple, it's optional for women.
Okay. But they have to wear some sort of head covering? Is that
the women don't have to wear anything, really.
Oh, okay.
It's really just something for men to traditionally wear. And, you just keep it on your head and you wear it during the ceremony, and that's really all there is to it. It's very simple.
Does it have to be a Jewish person to be able to wear it?
No.
Any guest could do that.
And that may throw people off when they first arrive. Am I Jewish? Is this just for them? Is it not for them? It's absolutely for everybody, just showing respect in general for the event, respect for the couple.
What's next?
The guests arrive. Depending on the ceremony, people always ask, what side do I sit on? Is there a bride side? Is there a groom side? Does it matter? Traditionally, yes. I mean, very traditionally in Judaism, men would sit on the men's side, women would sit on the women's side, and they would actually have a curtain that would divide the two.
Yep.
Most ceremonies that occur, let's say at our place, it's open. Sit wherever you'd like, just like any ceremony would be. Good. Be comfortable. Enjoy.
Good. I've also seen it where there's like a rope that goes down the middle instead of the curtain.
Sometimes even with the rope that goes down the middle, beyond Jewish ceremonies, is simply because the bride and groom don't want anybody, again, out of respect or out of just respect for the decor sometimes, don't go and sit from the middle, sit from the sides. So no one has gone down the aisle before the bride and groom in the wedding.
Nobody should actually walk down the aisle at a ceremony before the bride does. That's what I've always been taught. Even whether it has an aisle runner or not, when you're going to your seat, you go to the left or the right.
Yep.
You never walk down the center where the bride is going to walk.
Correct.
Whether that people still do that or not, I don't see that much. I see people walking all over the place.
They are walking all over the place. Yeah. We like to do it, or we like to think that we do it pretty coordinated and orchestrated without being pushy and telling people you must go this way. Yes, there have been situations where, again, they'll put up a rope for ceremonial purposes or not, just saying, go this way.
Right.
So there are a number of different ceremonies that take place, I'd say, before the ceremony even begins, one of which is called Bedekin. And basically, it's the ceremony before the ceremony. The bride and groom are separated at that point, and it's kind of a joyful celebration of where the women are rejoicing and celebrating the women, and the men are rejoicing and celebrating the men. Some prayers are said. Does it occur at every Jewish wedding? Again, these are all optional. Completely depends on the situation and circumstance. And the nice thing about Judaism is you get to honor what traditions you want to honor.
Right.
You don't have to do everything. You don't have to do one thing.
Right.
You can incorporate different elements as we're going over them.
Now, I've seen in Hindu weddings where the group of men would come with the groom on a camel or a horse or an elephant. You've seen those before. Is that comparable to what you just spoke about?
Definitely no animals incorporated. I've seen many times and I've witnessed many times, and people go, "Really? You had a horse come up to the building in Simsbury?" And sure, absolutely.
And that doesn't happen at everyone, but this would be at a very traditional.
Yeah, very, very traditional. Yeah. But again, I've seen it at non-traditional.
That's true.
And again, within each of these little ceremonies, you can follow it to the book, or you can do whatever of those aspects you like.
Right. So another one would be?
Well, another one that's pretty much at every single one is the ketubah. So the ketubah is absolutely the most important part of the Jewish ceremony. It's the wedding contract, the wedding license. And there's even a ceremony associated with this also. Most ceremonies, sure, the officiant comes in, they bring you, the manila envelope from the town, and they sign it privately, and that's it. The ketubah it's a production. It's I've seen so many. They can be large, they can be small. Some of them are beautifully painted. They have incredible drawings, and some of them are very basic, but it's basically the license at a Jewish ceremony.
And again, this goes back thousands of years.
Oh, yes.
Where I know in the Bible, it mentions these intricate drawings that are made for it. So this isn't just something that was just invented.
No.
There's a whole tradition that goes back thousands of years.
And it's beautiful. It's a display piece. It's supposed to be displayed at the ceremony. Sometimes it's displayed next to where the couple are sitting during the event. They're beautiful. And they're signed by, it's overseen by a rabbi, of course, and the rabbi signs it. And there's witnesses. Witnesses are important in a number of different aspects of the Jewish wedding.
How so?
I would say you have witnesses for almost every element.
Oh.
Just to make sure people are seeing what's going on, to make sure this has been observed.
Right.
This really happened, we swear.
Oh, yes, this has absolutely happened. We have proof. And those people sometimes even have to sign the ketubah also, as there's a place for a witness to sign.
That contract is absolutely amazing. And the whole thing, preparing for it, I've watched a rabbi take over 20 minutes
to do this.
Just to do this part.
Yeah.
And we still have to get to the ceremony.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. Haven't gone to the ceremony yet.
No, we could talk about timing for a while here, definitely.
Yeah.
There are a lot of elements, as I've mentioned, that go in before the actual ceremony takes place.
Again, this is something that goes back thousands of years because having the witnesses proved to your family and your friends that they actually did this and they are actually married.
Yes.
That's what really it is. It's all about.
And this is, again, a display piece. It's something that is displayed at various points throughout the wedding, the ceremony, be it at the reception, and then it's displayed in your home sometimes.
Yeah.
I've heard the rabbi read it.
Oh, yes. As well.
At the ceremony, yes, which can be time-consuming.
Which can be time-consuming. There are many different elements that can make this really short or really long. Yeah, many, many different elements. But it's a nice tradition. It's Judaism is filled with all these really nice, lovely, interesting traditions. And again, like Sal mentioned, the point of the rabbi being there is not only to officiate, but to really explain what's going on.
Yep. And then before we take a break, we need to talk about the Chuppah?
The chuppah. The chuppah comes up a lot from Star Wars, right?
Because there is nothing more that speaks about a Jewish tradition than this.
So the chuppah, definitely critical next to the ketubah signing and the ketubah in general.
Yeah. So first, explain what it is.
So the chuppah is basically a representation of the home the bride and groom are to make for each other. There are so many different ways this can be done. Usually it's a very ornate 4-post, almost like a tent you would most commonly refer to it as. And you could have various family members holding each end of this in the ceremony instead of a bridal party. Guys on one side, ladies on the left.
Each post.
Right, each post.
Yeah.
They're actually holding a post. Your brother, your sister, your grandparent, everybody should be up there kind of, again, more witnesses to the ceremony. So again, you could have it held many times in, I'd say recent years, I've seen it, a florist can even make one and provide one. Incredible florals on it. Yep. One thing that kind of remains a constant is what is called the talit, which is this prayer shawl that most people are familiar with at a Jewish ceremony or a Jewish service to whatever degree. This is something the men put on. Again, the men, they put on a nice shawl, and it symbolizes, your covenant with God and focused on meditation and everything related to that. And the talit actually goes over the chuppah. It's the roof of the chuppah. So a florist can come in, they could design a chuppah, you could work with somebody to design one. But this element is usually something that's put on top as the covering, the main housing.
So it forms a house. Within that, the couple are getting married.
Absolutely.
We're going to come right back and we'll talk more about what happens at a traditional Jewish wedding ceremony.
The Stress-Free Wedding Planning Podcast with Sal and Sam.
Wedding Tip Wednesday is brought to you by Emerge Cosmetics. Are you ready to emerge? A new line of luxurious lipsticks and lip glosses created with the intention of empowerment and coming into who you truly are. Strong, beautiful, and confident. Use coupon code EBI10 at shopemergecosmetics.com for an instant 10% discount. That's coupon code EBI10 for 10% discount at shopemergecosmetics.com. Emerge as the true you.
On this Wedding Tip Wednesday, the advice is don't buy heels. Remember our advice? Buy your wedding shoes in advance. This allows you to wear them a little, kind of break them in so they're more comfortable for your wedding day. So don't buy heels. You'll be less nervous and stressed out about tripping while wearing heels. Besides, no one can see the shoes.
I always wear heels when I go to weddings, so I know this tip very well. But seriously, folks, yes, you don't necessarily have to wear heels, especially if you're having an outdoor wedding ceremony. Trust me, those heels can get stuck in the grass, so nobody sees your shoes underneath that dress. It is a good idea not to wear heels.
And there's so many cool things to wear now. They actually make wedding sneakers.
Yes.
Wedding flip-flops.
Yes.
So if you do have that higher dress that where they can see the shoes, it's just cute and awesome.
Yep. And especially if you can bling it out as well. If
Absolutely.
you're into bling.
Let's bring it back to the 80s and bejewel.
So that's a great tip for you. Remember, don't wear those heels. You can wear flats instead.
Wedding Tip Wednesday is available on the Stress-Free Wedding Planning Facebook group page every Wednesday. Join the group for free.
Emerge Cosmetics. Are you ready to emerge?
I bought this lipstick after my wedding trial with Lauren and instantly fell in love with it. It is smooth and creamy and the color is beautiful.
This is Lauren Simpson from Emerge Cosmetics, a professional makeup artist with over a decade of experience in the beauty industry. That's the reaction we're getting from our new line of carefully curated lip products that wear well and feel comfortable. These are a must-have for your collection. All products are made in the USA, cruelty-free, gluten-free, and most are vegan. Shop emergecosmetics.com for lipsticks and lip glosses that not only feel great, but last for hours in an array of different colors. Free shipping on orders over $100. Use the podcast coupon code EBI10 at shopemergecosmetics.com for an instant 10% discount. That's coupon code EBI10 for 10% discount at shopemergecosmetics.com. Emerge as the true you.
You're not the same as the person next to you. You dress to reflect your personality. You enjoy customizing your drink at the coffee shop. Even your pet's collars match at least 2 pairs of your pants. It's only natural that your wedding would showcase your unique touch. After Hours Events of New England gets this. They like to give their clients full artistic control. If you find yourself lost, their team of event specialists can help. They handle everything from DJs, photo booths, event lighting, photography, videography, even efficients. Give them a visit on the web and call today. Let's get planning. After Hours Events of New England. After Hours Events of NE.com. Don't forget to like and follow on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and be sure to subscribe to their YouTube channel, all at After Hours Events of NE. That's After Hours Events of NE.
Don't know what to do for your first dance? Is your future spouse having trouble picking a song to dance with their parent? Worry no more. I have the answer. Go to afterhoursevents.ne.com/contact guest. That is CONTACTGUEST. And you'll be able to listen to hours of music to help you select the right songs for your upcoming wedding. Again, go to afterhoursevents.ne.com/contact guest.
Do you want access to a stress-free wedding planning process? Then go to our website, allthews.atmosphere-productions.com, and get my free report. 8 questions you must ask a wedding professional before booking them. Get it today. That's allthews.atmosphere-productions.com. Look for the free report and learn to shop like a pro from a pro, and go from concern and worry to stress-free wedding planning.
When your wedding entertainment has to have amazing music, be fun, organized, and professional, your choice has to be Atmosphere Productions. DJs, live musicians, custom lighting, and photo booths. As seen on the TLC TV series 4 Weddings, winner of the Wedding Wire Couples Choice Award and DJ Times DJ of the Month. Experience the difference. www.atmosphere-productions.com. That's www.atmosphere-productions.com.
You're listening to Sal and Sam on the Stress-Free Wedding Planning Podcast. I'm Carson from Fitzner Productions, and I listen every week. You can listen and download online from iTunes, Google, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Everyone is talking about the DJ Pauly Show on YouShook.com.
Hi, everyone. This is Keith Urban, and you're listening to the number one DJ on the planet, DJ Pauly.
What's going on, everybody? This is Charles,
Hillary,
and Dave,
and we are
Lady Antebellum.
And you're listening to the number one DJ on the internet. It's DJ Pauly, y'all.
Hey, y'all. I'm Kelsey Ballerini, and you're listening to the number one DJ on the internet. It's DJ Pauly, y'all.
The DJ Pauly Show on YouShook.com. We dare to be different. Join us and see for yourselves.
You're listening to the Stress Free Wedding Planning Podcast.
Thanks for joining us back here at the Stress Free Wedding Planning Podcast. We are actually talking to Adam Blutt from the Riverview Banquet Facility in Simsbury, and his specialty is Jewish ceremonies and receptions, and he's been giving us a lot of great information. We're down to the point where we are at the processional now at the ceremony. What is so different about a Jewish ceremony processional?
So at a Jewish ceremony, the processional can be a bit different than other ceremonies. For instance, the incorporation of the bride and groom walking down the aisle with their parents. Very, very big. A lot of people ask in advance for a larger aisle when you're setting up the ceremony.
Sense.
And now you'll know why. Or when you're sitting at one, you'll say, why is there so much space down that aisle? The groom is escorted down by his parents, then the bridesmaids, then the maid of honor, and again, the bride by both her parents. Again, as with any of these customs, it doesn't have to be this way. Mm-hmm. It can be any way you want, and you can incorporate any element you want. And I've even done weddings that aren't Jewish, of course, and the groom is escorted by both his parents, and the bride is escorted by both her parents.
I'm planning to do that with my daughter in April.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah, my wife and I are going to escort her down. I thought it was more important that we both escorted her down because she's a single child.
Yeah. Even more so. Yeah.
It made perfect sense. And you just saying that just kind of reminded me of that. And that makes it even more special, doesn't it?
It makes it way more special.
That's just his way of making sure your hands are off. That's what it's really good. We're going to both make sure you make it down that aisle, and we're making this happen.
We can definitely talk about the fun I've had with the handing off. Oh, man, the lines that are shared, the comments that are shared. But even at a Jewish ceremony, some people, they say, oh, it's a Jewish ceremony or it's a Christian ceremony, and there's certain connotations that go along with that.
Right, when you say that.
But again, it should be light. At least that's how we feel it should be at the Riverview. It should be light. It should be fun. Yeah. People should be engaged. It shouldn't be, this is super formal and I'm not Jewish or whatever, and I don't feel like I belong. You want everybody to belong.
So another traditional item is the circling.
The circling, yes. So this is an interesting one. After the processional, after everybody is down, the bride is then presented to the groom. Parents sit down. The bride, it's a very common tradition for her to then literally circle the groom 7 times. It's a really interesting tradition and a nice one, and something that, there's no music. It's quiet. The bride is literally encircling the groom. There can be different little twists that go on. There can be different little, turned into a little dance. This is, again, just to honor, what is happening.
And to solidify the fact that she's going to marry this man.
Exactly. Exactly. This is it. I think what it's supposed to create is this kind of protection wall.
Right.
Sanctity of what this ceremony is representing, what is going on here. The bride is becoming, I don't want to say the groom's property, because, of course, that's not what's happening here. But she is being given away to this man.
Yeah.
Again, you have a bride wearing a wedding dress, and you can have an enormous train.
Yep.
And it's not bustled. It's not pinned up yet.
Yep.
So the bride is, in every which way, kind of walking around and around and around, with this train and everything. And, all the ones that I've been to, it's you're free to laugh. It's fun. It should be joyous. It shouldn't be, no speaking. The bride is encircling the groom. Don't say anything. Play into the moment. Be part of it. And that's a nice part of the Jewish faith in general. It's, usually the rabbi or somebody telling everybody what is happening, just like now. So you feel like you belong, even if you're an outsider. You're part of it.
Yep. And next up is some blessings.
There are some blessings. After we've done the 7 circles, a rabbi will typically go into the Sheva Brechut, which are the 7 blessings that are recited by the rabbi during the wedding ceremony. Mm-hmm. And again, optional. Various parts of this can be done. Parts don't have to be done at all.
Yep.
Many times during some sort of Jewish ceremony, you'll notice there's a blessing over wine, or there's the partaking in some wine. This is a blessing that takes place with a cup of wine.
Wine seems to be important at a Jewish wedding. From my view, I can't think of a time that I didn't see wine involved.
There's definitely wine. There's lots of wine. There's wine at not just in toasts, of course. There's wine in prayers. There's wine in rejoicing and celebration. There's wine to symbolize various different parts of the ceremony. The wine even has a special cup, the Kiddush cup.
Yep.
Which is, something the bride and groom may bring. They can certainly purchase. Maybe if the bride is Jewish or the groom is Jewish, they had it from their bar bat mitzvah. You hold on to these artifacts throughout pretty much your entire life. The same going back to the talit.
Yep.
And you carry them with you. Yep. And, you wear them and utilize them at different points in your life, such as a wedding.
So what I've noticed here, like many other weddings, the rule is now there really are no real rules. We could kind of mix and match what we want to do. Am I getting that straight?
You are completely getting that straight.
I know you want to get some things definitely in there, but you could pretty much do whatever you want. And when it came to the blessings, what I've noticed at weddings that I've done is that the 7 blessings can be done a few different ways. One, the rabbi says everything, and he does a little Hebrew, does a little English. I've had where honored guests, family members who actually do each individual one, and it's gotten really complicated while they do it in English. Someone else does it in Hebrew afterwards.
Yes.
So this could get a very lengthy thing, too, for your ceremony.
It can be. It can be.
Your Jewish ceremony is definitely not 10 minutes.
Exactly.
This is something that's going to take about 45 at least.
Yeah. Yes, 45, half hour, 45 minutes at least. Like Sal mentioned, it's very interesting because you can have a rabbi work with you and discuss which parts you want to incorporate and which parts you don't want to incorporate. There's many. We can go on for an hour about all the traditional customs and expressions and everything, but there's some that you see pretty much at every single one.
Which brings us to the fringed prayer shawl. I love this.
The talit, which I mentioned before. Again, this is something that goes over the huppah, but it's also something that is traditionally worn, and again, by men. And in many different religions, you'll see some sort of prayer shawl or covering.
Do they take the prayer shawl off the huppah and then drape it over the couple?
Yes, in some cases they do. In some cases they do. I've actually seen it where, depending on the structure that is the huppah, it will be built in and part of it. Whereas built in, I mean pinned in. It's not going anywhere.
It's not going.
In other cases, it can be taken off and it can be worn to cover the bride and groom or cover certain family members.
Yep.
Basically, it just represents unity and being surrounded by love.
No. That's a great tradition. Which brings us to what everybody has seen at every Jewish wedding.
Why are they doing that?
And I've also seen it done at non-Jewish wedding because the couple just wanted to break the glass.
Break the glass. And it's funny, Sam, it has
just
been
cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
It's a nice, break the glass celebration and phrases such as Mazel Tov, which is congratulations.
Yep.
Everybody really knows those terms. And this can be anything. I've seen it from being some formal, glass that you can actually go and purchase specifically for this, wrapped in a napkin or some sort of traditional covering. And in recent years, it's interesting. I really didn't see this much until I began at the Riverview. It's a light bulb.
Yeah.
They wrap a light bulb and you put it down and you smash it. And Mazel Tov indeed.
Because this is all prepared in advance.
Yes.
So the cloth with the light bulb or whatever thing you want to shatter is brought and placed and is part of the ceremony. And then when you're ready for it, you take it and then you put it on the ground and break it. So nobody knows what's actually inside that because you want the effect of something breaking. That's what you want. So it doesn't necessarily have to be a glass where you stomp on it and you cut up your entire feet.
No one knows. No one knows. And this is very important for everyone. Remember, something that's easily broken. You don't want something too strong where you jam your heel into it and all of a sudden you've taken out your ankle.
Exactly.
Yes, there's definitely some warnings that come along with this.
Yep.
We've seen situations where the groom goes to stomp it and it goes flying down the aisle.
Yeah.
And everybody laughs. It's funny. It is funny, but you really want to symbolize that breaking of the glass. You want to really get that in there. It's a really nice close to the ceremony, and it's Mazel Tov.
Yeah.
It's just the end.
Everybody loves shouting it.
Everybody loves shouting it. Everybody loves shouting it. A wonderful tradition, though, and again, something that's been incorporated in all sorts of ceremonies.
And a great way to wrap up a Jewish ceremony.
Absolutely.
Now, there's something that's special that actually happens after the ceremony with the couple. Can you kind of explain that?
There's something called, and this sometimes is in some of the higher up sects of the religion, Yehud. Traditionally, after the ceremony, bride and groom are to go spend some time privately together. And this can be doing anything you want to do. Sometimes, even way back when, this was consummation of the marriage.
Yeah.
These days, it's really the couple having a peaceful moment by themselves before joining the crowd, before the celebration continues. Maybe they're having some food. Maybe they're just getting to talk to each other.
Yep.
Again, they might not have seen each other, like many wedding ceremonies, for quite some time before the ceremony. And now it's a time to kind of be together one-on-one.
Take a breath.
Take a breath.
Where I'm actually finding that non-Jewish weddings
I was just
are starting to do that now. We're like, hey, Sal, we're going to go to the suite.
Yep.
And we just want no one to go in there. Can you make sure that happens?
Yep.
And we'll see everyone later.
We've had situations where we've even had to, put somebody to guard the bridal suite because, we want absolutely nobody to come in. We just want, to be by ourselves. And, we'll come out when we come out.
Yep.
That's it.
That's great.
Yeah.
What a wonderful way to wrap up a ceremony. So, Adam, once again, give us your bio.
My bio.
Yes, you work where?
I work at the Riverview in Simsbury, Connecticut.
And you've been there how many years?
I've been there 13 years in various capacities, but for the past 3 or 4 as an event coordinator.
So we thank you very much for coming by. We hope you'll come back again.
Definitely.
I would love to.
And have a chat with us maybe about receptions, how we do Jewish receptions. That'd be a great idea.
Absolutely.
For that.
Well, we hope to see you soon.
Thanks, guys.
The Stress-Free Wedding Planning Podcast is produced and copyrighted by Atmosphere Productions in association with After Hours Events of New England.